Hello. It's what? Oh, it's Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday. Did everyone have a good weekend? I think I did. It was like a decent Friday, a decent Saturday, and then Sunday basically just doesn't really necessarily exist. So pretty much on par of what a general weekend would be. So I still get a couple. I got a couple hours to burn, so I figured I'd turn on the stream for the sake of turn the stream on, get a couple more quests done. I did already do quite a bit already in terms of like, I got a good handful of quests done, so there's that to go with. So for right now, all I'm really doing is just. I think the plan really is to get a little bit of wings done, or at least get it to the point where the wings is actually progressing. And I might actually focus on Seek. Not too sure yet. Those are the two big ones that I need to do. And there's also Windy. I did like a good handful of Windy quests just so I can get ranked up to past Shadow Lord. And that's really all I did the last couple of days. And then today I played a little bit. Oh god, I got like a cough going on. It's probably from the Panda Express. I had Panda Express not too long ago, like about 15 minutes ago. Just got finished eating that. It was very good. I didn't buy anything premium. I got my usual, just some beef and broccoli and some food from there. Went down good, and not to pay too much. Good old-fashioned cheap schlappa. That's pretty good. I mean, I got my greens in me. That's what matters most. Beef and broccoli, they give you like a good amount of broccoli to make up for the fact that they don't really have that much meat in it anyway. And you know what? That's fine. Just glaze it up with a bunch of that sauce that's probably super unhealthy anyway. This was the weird thing from Wings. This is part of Wings questline, I believe. Because like the whole thing was I couldn't get here because it was blocked by the fucking mage gate. So I had to do a whole handful of questing and whatnot just so I can be able to even use the charm without even needing the 3 mages. I think I'll do Full Moon Fountain while I'm here. Might as well, just get it out of the way. It's such a short walk. Get Fenrir out of the way. Do I even have, I have Summoner on, do I? No, I don't. I guess it'll just retrofit. Like, I'll know it, and then by the time I get Summoner, then it'll be fine. Then again, I don't remember. It's been such a long time. You might have to actually have Summoner to learn things, but that's okay. Or don't worry. But we will just get it cleared and we just won't turn in the Whisper. That's usually how it works for me. It is also still hot, so I'm gonna complain about the heat again. Hot weather all summer, gonna suck. I'm like half tempted to get those like really cheap, those dumb cheap fans where you just has like a cold filter, like a cold water filter thing, where you know you put the thing in the freezer and then you put it on the fan. I don't know, something to generate some sort of cold air in here. I do have like a... I really don't want to resort to getting like a window unit. Mainly because we already have a whole bunch of them. They're just not in the space that I'm in. And they're loud, and don't want to deal with loud noises right now. Or I find a way to get the fan that I have running now to actually blow towards me. Which, I can make that happen. I can make that happen, but it does blow into the mic, and then you get then the mic's gonna be a lot worse than it already is, you know? That's always a rough one. So most of like the monthly campaigns that was happening during, I think it was like there's an event that happened with the Return Home campaign. Like a whole bunch of stuff was like super juiced up, and that's why a lot of things are a lot easier than it needed to be. I was kind of realizing that some of this stuff's pretty weak. Now, granted, I'm still level 99 and kind of barreling through stuff, but I did notice XP, like, after having the XP campaign, was coming off of that, it's like, oh, that is actually a big chunk of XP that I was able to get per kill. I think when I was doing, like getting, like, quick merits here and there, I basically went from having, like, 15, 17k XP down to like just, you know, just cuts off 10k from that total per kill. So that's a big leap when you think about it. Makes the grinding a lot more intensive than it probably would have already been. Oh yeah, I aggro things. It's all weak stuff, so it doesn't really matter. Because the zone line's like right over here anyway. The only thing that's gonna be a little bit annoying is that that is true. I'm not sub dancer right now. I might get the booty blasted. Or not, I don't think so. I'll just heal it all back up, don't worry about it. So getting my merit points, I thought it was like, you know, my first impression was like, oh yeah, let's get these points, you get them so fast that you're gonna spend most of them getting that merit cap up, which is what I did for the most part. Like I'm almost done with it too. It's like what? Yeah, so 12 more points, which is like, oh man, a whole shit pile. Ugh. You look at the big picture, that's like about 500-ish merit points. Now all these points could have just went to just like spreading it out to these attributes, which is really the only thing that I have left to do. I mean, I could do things like the combat skills, magic skills. Those are all still pretty bare. Hell, even weapon skills. I don't really like the... Extenderator is like a really good looking skill, but it just doesn't really do good. Not that great. And I'm not really sure how this works. So your combo total max is 15, so I can only have... That's probably like one for each. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, probably like 1 point each, and then one will get like an extra bonus, which is kind of shitty. But I guess it is one way to like, if you're not gonna really notice if you're just like maining like 1 or 2 classes anyway. If you want to have all of it unlocked, then you have to like kind of it gives space for grinding out merits, I guess. chest. Fight the stupid Fenrir. This one in particular usually takes a pretty long time to load up for whatever reason. I know on Horizon was this bad too. I don't think I get access to Trust doing these, so kind of whatever. As far as I know, Fenrir is a pretty massive summon. Pretty powerful in the lore. Just for shits and giggles. You have no trust. Just run it and hope it doesn't blow me up, but this is tuned for, I think the level's like 70 or something, right? 75-ish. So I know 75, certain 75 classes could solo it no problem. It was all just a matter of making sure you don't get destroyed by Astral Flow, and that's it really. But usually at 75, it was basically, I think, like, you could duo it at least. Easy duo. Some classes could probably solo. And then that gap kind of widens more when you take in consideration, like, Sub-Dancer. Those little things, you know? Hell is, oh yeah, it actually plops me out right here, just where I needed to be, actually. So let me look at my notes here. Let's see here. I believe it's Forbidden Path. Yeah, I go to Grauberg. That's probably Gustaberg? Or, you know what, just teleport me into any of the... Because then, at least then I can get Sigil, and then I'll teleport there through Outpost. Wonder if I could even do the little evaluation thing and get my medals back. Did a couple of campaigns, so it should count. But it also took me a long time, so I don't know what's gonna happen. We'll find it. Oh, that's teleport. It's the evaluation guy. Maybe I should have went to Winders. Still can. I just know the layout of Winders a little slightly better. I gotta go to like Grogberg. Haven't been in that zone in a long, long time. Yes, I will accept honors. Gimme. Give me new metal. I basically just have to do some more campaign, everything just kind of sorts itself out. Wait, can I get the trust magic here? Let's see. I guess trust magic you still have to like do dumb quests for it or whatever. Probably what it is. Alright, let's go to Grogberg. I forgot to get Sigil. I'm very smart at this. You don't like need it, but it just kind of helps. Yeah, sure, let's register ourselves to a union. Still do a quick old campaign. Which, by the looks of it, since it's Beastman controlled stuff, we're just gonna be wailing on a fort for a little bit. I've actually been liking Aura 2. It's pretty damn good. A lot of skill chaining. Skill chains are pretty cool, so I might just suit things up a little differently. Anyway, all this just whale on the fortification. That's where you get your credit. Ooh. This is top tier content back in the day. I don't even think there's any reinforcements on the way either. I'm not gonna do this for very long, just long enough to kind of feel like I did enough. It's kind of funny. I have like this like kind of neat setup here. Good like multi-step chains like that are really nice. Although it's kind of hard to like kind of organize. It's usually I usually do it with like 2 or 3 people, two other trusts, and it works out just fine. It always makes me kind of wonder like how any of this even works. Like campaign-wise, I never really understood any of the setups here. Like, especially for at least when you're like defending a fortification, you do kind of get an idea of when it's gonna end. These attack ones, I never really bothered. Usually back in the day, I would just fucking wail on it, and it'd be good enough. It would eventually just end on its own. Things are a little bit different here now. It's honestly not too bad. I get the watch. Supplier. Curious about this. Oh yeah, the supplier's just like kind of there. I remember that. But yeah, nothing doesn't seem like it's gonna be on its way. So when does it end? I've always wondered about that. I wailed on it a bunch, and then I'm gonna go and just turn the tags in. Get like a nice little handful of allied notes and XP. And we'll move on to doing whatever the hell I need to do in Groberg. Have to find a bottle ffxi. Do they even have that? No, I didn't really get that much. Okay, whatever. I'm not gonna spend too much. There's no enemies to be fought, then there's just no point. Except for this. Aw, missed it. That's always silly. It's like they show up right when I'm about to fucking leave. That's so stupid. So very dumb. Dumbest shit ever. So I guess I'm supposed to go over this way, maybe. Every time I'm about to leave, there's the transporter. I should probably blow it up. No, it's you're usually like 2 steps too late. Dumb, very dumb. They're lucky I don't have any sort of bind. I really do need to learn like the process of everything in terms of like, alright, now that you're 99, what other crap do you gotta do? In terms of like the group stuff to do, I've just kind of like fell off the face of the earth because this is like, oh, where do I go now? It feels a little bit weird because there's no like real central place for people to be like, hey, let's pick some random assholes up and do a thing. You have to like kind of like integrate yourself with link shells and shit like that now. There's like somewhat of a pickup culture, but it all starts from having like a bajillion million different link shells first, rather than just you go to town and ask. Or at least that's kind of the impression I've been getting. Culture's different compared to how things were back in the day. So where's these Fey Blossoms supposed to be? Oh, there they are. I get my cutscene. At all these pixies. And then 14 crashes. Like I said, there's always some sort of DirectX failure with 14 that just happens when there's too much crap going on at once. So it's gonna want a bottled pixie, so I guess I got to kill some. So beastmen have bottled pixies. It's gonna be one of those time-gated things too, watch. Or rather, the time it takes for me to get it is going to take quite some time. Best way to describe what's about gonna happen. Because those Fey Blossoms, they only appear at a certain time. And by the looks of it, the time it takes for me to get this might be a while. It's either fight low level, you know, just like regular ass beastmen, which has somewhat of a chance of dropping, but it's not guaranteed, or I go for a Yaguda High Priest, which means I have to dig my ass deep into the castle. With the guaranteed drop rate. Well, at least there's a bajillion spawn zones, so it's not gonna be too bad. Just a matter of getting there and then getting back here on time. I still have until 6 in game time, but it should be fine. Isn't like Battle Pixie used for pulling? It's just used in a couple of things. I thought it was. I remember it being. You had to throw something at Ixion to pull it, but I don't think it was Bottle Pixie. Might be Pixie related though. I think you had to kill pixies for it, whatever it dropped. As long as I can get it from here, it should be pretty quick. Just gotta find a Yaguda High Priest, any sort. There was one on the wide scale. And there's one. Although it probably is saying it's probably something different. Like I might have to actually go to the one inside. We'll see. I have to go inside. Now it does say it's guaranteed to drop, but it doesn't necessarily specify if it's true or not. That's the thing that's kind of weirding me out now. Because I could be wasting my time. Could be wasting my time. Might be better off going inside. God, I hate this. Tick rates, man, tick rates. Gotta just keep killing stuff until it drops. That's really all we can do now at this point. I'll also put on beef knife, H1s, slightly more TH. Order key. And of course, I'm gonna get a bunch of these stupid Yagudo feathers. Remember, Wiki said it's guaranteed drop. So. I don't know what to say. I ain't getting them though, that's the only thing I know. Or I already have a bottle pixie, which makes no sense. Why would I have a bottle pixie? I've got a key item. I got a key item, but that's something completely different, though. I'm actually digging through and checking for bottle pixies in my storage. Which makes no sense. I would never have it in my storage. But it's a guaranteed drop. What could happen? Oh no. Game lying to me. Don't you just hate it when the game lies to you? Oh, you could totally get it here. It is guaranteed drop. Guaranteed drop my ass. Ta-da. He actually has AoE. Aggro the hallway, whole ass hallway. See how much I can handle. Oh, there's even an NM over here. I'm actually getting beat up over here. I'll have to shitty ass. I don't think he's on any kind of list though. Could be. Okay, I'm just gonna have that active for the time being. Just kill him. Just kill him. Bamboo snake cage. Probably used to... It's used for something. I don't know what the... I could be, yeah. They're both my characters, so yeah, that makes sense. Adds up. I should have saved the TP so I can do another AoE. All I need is a bottled pixie. Oh yeah, back in the day? Back in ye old Titan days? When that server actually existed? Huh, just give me a free ring. Funny. I've been actually seeing people on this server that kind of remotely remembers me running around. I think I remember Wither. I vaguely remember that name. That was a long time ago. It rings a bell a little bit. Now I know I'm kind of beating around the bush here in terms of trying to find this bottled pixie. "20 years ago, yep. That sounds about right. Since I haven't really touched, never really touched the game since back then, it just basically just moved along with whatever server merges are on, so when I logged back in, I was on Phoenix, so I'm on Phoenix now. Which just happened to be the server that closed down already. Or I think it closed down either today or after the patch. I'm not too sure when that starts. It's crazy how things work like that. My guess is just that, yeah, it's just people flooded into whatever is the next biggest server once the other big servers closed down. They're like, all right, where do we go now? And then I guess Phoenix was the second highest on there. I think I've ran into at least like 1 or 2 other old Titan players, but I don't recognize any of their names. They recognize mine, so I was like, oh, all right, that's cool. To be honest with you, I didn't even... Oh, so that's where a bunch of Karasu people went. I was wondering about that. Like, I still have the pearl and all that. It still exists. So just, you know, I look at the link shell message. There's someone still there. I think the last one was like 2020, oh yeah, 2020. Let me see here. Yeah, last thing was 2022. Yeah, the shell still exists. I would have thought the shell holder would have gotten like banned because of the salvage dupes. I think I was still around when that was a thing. I completely forgot how that all worked out. You know, I might actually just keep my inventory full until it actually drops. In terms of people alive and kicking, probably not. I'm sure that's the case too. If they were still active in endgame, they moved over to Ashura. That would be my guess. I've never really kept track of all the old Karasu people. I just bitched and moaned because I spent my DKP on fucking food instead of getting a hot eclair, and then eventually just stopped playing the game altogether. Bottled pixie. Why is it so hard to get? Maybe I have to fight harder you do though. Maybe that's what it is. Oh, I remember when Araga was a hot commodity. Maybe not back in old retail when I played, but damn, when I was playing Horizon a whole bunch. Definitely one of those things I farmed a lot. Yeah, I think the last time I was playing was around like, based off of what the record said, last activity was around like 2011. But that's when my payments stopped, but I'm pretty sure I stopped playing altogether a lot sooner than that. Mainly, yeah, I returned back when the whole Welcome Back campaign started. Like, oh yeah, why not? I finally got all, like, basically the whole reason I stopped playing altogether was my little authenticator token broke, like literally broke. Probably sat on or something, screen cracked, so I never was able to log back in. I just stopped playing, whatever. Never bothered. Then eventually it just got to a point where I was like I was moderately curious, like, alright, let's see what we can do here. So dug up very old credentials for my login stuff. And contacted customer service. I was like, alright, yeah, I forgot everything. Here's what I know, and swimmingly it worked. Like I was able to get the account back and everything. And then I ported it over to what my Final Fantasy XIV accounts worked on. And I just kind of messed around with it a little bit. It's always nice to be back. Although, not getting my bottled Pixie is kind of questionable here. The wiki says it's a guaranteed drop-off of High Priest, but I kill High Priest and nothing drops. So silly. So I do what other sane person will do, just kill all the bird, and maybe it'll drop. Unless I need sigil, then I might have to get sigil and make it work. The more I look back in those days when I played, I honestly didn't really do a whole lot when I think about it. Compared to what everyone else done back in those days, I barely got much. In fact, I barely did salvage. I think once I had enough to do salvage, I think I did only a little bit of salvage. I got like the 35 piece for Ares, and then that was it. I have no idea why it turned out that way, but that's just how it worked out. Just never really got into sort of the grinds of everything. As far as ZNMs are concerned, I probably did all the way, I think most of the way up to Pandy Warden, but I never did Pandy Warma. Yeah, I could go for Arima, but I'm still kind of muddling around with the expansion stories and all that, questing. I'll spend maybe an hour or two on getting some job points and merits. Just recently I finished with Rhapsodies. So I could, if I really wanted to, I will need to anyway, I'll start on Limbus. I can get that going. I'm not getting convinced here that the Pixie doesn't drop you. Getting all sorts of random stuff, but none of it is the bottled pixie. So Limbus is the hot thing, that's the end game. I gotta get into that. And that's really all I know as far as the thing to do. There's all this other stuff that I should be grinding for, and I'm just like, what? You have like this laundry list of things to do, and it's kind of hard to tell what's... It's hard to tell what's what, like what I actually need to do. So I just go with the obvious thing, which is basically just do the missions and just do missions, because that'll be a capacity bonus. Makes grinding a little bit more easier. That's funny though, it's like, oh, this content's casual, I don't like it. Blech. I mean... it's all grinding of some sort. How are you gonna make it harder? I mean... Other than just time gates and... obtuse mechanics. Odyssey and Swordy are the intense stuff. And I mean, with the... And then you have the inclusion of this, like, this event that gives you just, like, the free upgraded JSC gear. I think it supposedly skips past the entrance of Obfuscate and whatnot. Yeah, just trash mob grind. We need big fights where I can't feed the TP of the monster or else I die, so it invalidates all the fucking melee. That's real content there. That's been kind of like the things that I hear every now and then. And it's also kind of the things that I've already experienced if I were to play like on if I played on like Horizon or something, where it's just like, alright, we leveled all this melee stuff so we can get merit super fast. What's the next plan? You're gonna have to level up Summoner, or you're gonna have to level up Black Mage, one or the other. Let's say you got a relic, oh yeah, who cares? That's not a G-Horn. Yeah, new Limbus NMs are probably gonna be what people are looking for. You know, it's gonna be kind of hard to remake Cozy when, you know, my server is fucking locked the fuck down. Because I'm playing on retail server. Right, you gotta level up Summoner or Black Mage, one or the other. What's that? You wanna be a tank? Well, here's this laundry list of shit that you need first before we can consider you a tank. Oh man. You know, I just realized there's a lot of knocking going on right now. A lot of knocking going up there. I just took my headphones off. There's a lot of knocking going upstairs. I don't know what it is, but it's nothing of my concern. What's that? You want to farm Dynamis? You gotta level up Black Mage, my friend. Want to do H&M? You gotta be participating in an Asian time zone. That's your primary game time. And yeah, you're probably gonna need to be Summoner as well. Can't have those yucky melee hitting the mob and being a TP. Although I do find that to be the most hilarious, like the funniest thing when it comes to like looking at the old H&M that I used to be on, and the only time they have open recruitment is literally just in terms of getting auto accepted, or at least, you know, auto considered. You just have to be playing on a Asian time zone. That's just a big. Yeah, it's good to see you too, Izzy. Always glad to see good old familiar faces. Yeah, you still have to go through like a fucking job application tier, fucking HR craziness in terms of the application process and all that. We'd be like, I'm old school. How did I get into H&M in the private server? Simple. I was there early enough, and they needed a thief, and I was a thief. Firm handshake. Got myself in an H&M shell. And also I was unemployed, so that helped too. I was able to get all the nice items first. I think I was like, what, server 4th on Riddle or something stupid like that? Good times. Good times. I'll never forget that night. That was a very funny night because we were doing Dyna's Arc. And it was a very good run in terms of drops. So I was able to get my TH4 gloves, the Red Mage hat, and then we claimed FAP. So we went to do FAP right then and there. And then Riddle drop, and I got Riddle. So I was front in line for that, so I definitely needed it. It all lined up perfectly well. And then I got to enjoy the Riddle experience until they nerfed one-hand weapons. Now, all this fighting I'm doing is just not dropping the bottle pixie, so I'm probably just gonna go back to town and clean my inventory up a little bit and try to evaluate what the hell I'm gonna do now. Jar and net pallets. Finding all sorts of random rare EX things. I'm not even sure what they do. Then I got booted for the most HR reasons. It was kind of fun. Oh, that was a highlight too. I was essentially booted, but they gave me a choice to just kind of leave on my own accord. But at that point, I was kind of like burnt out anyway. I had this thing called a job now. Can I get Sigil here? No. Alright. Get Sigil at town. So I need to find out where I can get this stupid bottled pixie. Because it's just not dropping at all. Let me look at a different wiki. Maybe it'll give me a better idea. Not sure why BG Wiki's like, oh yeah, that's guaranteed. Could get it through campaign unions. My guess is just that the High Priest has the most spawn points. And that's why I was like kind of like, yeah, you're gonna get it here. But it just looks like that I could get a bottled pixie from any kind of beastman. It's just that it's a really shitty drop rate. Oh yeah, that's right, I had somebody stealing from me, that's why I have these. Maybe if I have Sigil on, it'll actually drop, right? Hopefully they got like a little NPC shop around here. I can just drop everything off. I just don't like fighting Yaguda because the feathers and just this... that fucking Dorter key shit, it's like, dude, why? Shops. I think a quartermaster would be a shop, would it? Nope. I'm going with the safe option and just teleport back into the present. North Sandy's probably my best. It's funny that I get like road, in terms of quest progress, I get road blocked by the oddest things. I was not expecting to be roadblocked by a silly drop. Oh yeah, this gives me time to actually check notifications because I know that half my shit likes to not work at all. Or at least, you know, some of the notifications I have actually have sound to it, but because my setup is very, very jank at the moment until XSplit decides to like actually fix its program, I have to like rig everything in a weird way. So it just kind of makes everything a little messy. Like, even if I were to like do something like ring the bell, I'm gonna ring the bell. Okay, it can actually work now. Cause it's weird because it's all because of like browsers and shit. So I have to have a separate browser running with the widgets linked to it, so It's weird like that. And with the currently for XSplit, the big issue with it right now is that it has I usually have like preview noise going on with it. Or rather, like, I can preview the sound that's coming from my sources. The issue is that the sounds are all delayed. So it makes things very, very it's like not much delayed, but it's delayed enough that it's very distracting. So now I'm like having to like fiddle-dangle things around with the streaming software. So it's a fight and a half, but I'm trying to make use of what I can do until XSplit fixes itself, or I get unlazy and just start using OBS, one or the other. I'll eventually just use these or something. I don't know what they're for, but keep them. So we'll go to a different zone and try to clear this shit out. I just want to get a bottled pixie. That's kind of the goal here. And since the BG Wiki lied to me, I'm gonna have to do something else. The Yakuto High Priest guaranteed drop for bottle pixies. Woohoo! Why you lie to me like that? It's just so wrong. Game's been out for 24 something years, and information is still inaccurate. Wait, is there not a book there? Hold on. I am looking at the wrong... yeah, definitely wrong region. There we go. That makes more sense. Back in the past, the void hasn't existed. Let's look at this thing. Yeah, so my thought process is go for the highest level thing and kill it. Hopefully that is going to be the right move. I wonder who else has like AoEs. I know it's overkill, but... Also, I'm not sub-dancer, so no sneak and biz. I want to get up to there. Dumb ladybugs. I'm imagining if I go this way, it'll lead me there. I'm under the impression these NMs are for like certain top items, because they drop like rare EX stuff. Oh, they do aggro, okay. Okay, so while I'm at it, I might as well change the objective. Like, it's not super important, but I might as well do it anyway. Oh yeah, that's right. I just like how that just stacks for no reason. It just stacks. Liver. And for whatever reason, these guys don't drop shit. But we'll kill him anyway, because I don't like him. That's fine. Wasn't there a bridge over here I could take? Yeah, there is. Alright, cool. Now we're in the area that I needed to be in. I think. had to think about it for a second and I remember, yeah. Archangel Mithra is indeed thief. Is there a warlord in here? Let's see. Yeah, a bunch of things like Wormbrander. Maybe it might be here. Or I have to go deeper, one or the other. Or it could be... Warlords might be down here, maybe? Seem like it. Ah, there they are. Let's track them. Although I'm moderately curious to think that maybe I have a bottle pixie somewhere and I'm just not finding it. Oh, there's no way for me to drop down? It's kind of rude, don't you think? However, I do like what I'm about to see. Still no bottle pixie though. You really want to stop me, huh? That's a bad idea. Dangerous. Might not be a good idea, but I'm gonna try it anyway. To be fair though, it's actually not too bad of a way to make a little bit of money. This, you know, train the entire zone, and then it's like, what, 200 gil per kill? He's just sitting there, just standing there, and all silly. Where the hell am I supposed to get these things? Where are my bottled pixies, man? I'm still in the camp that's probably stuck in my inventory somewhere. I don't think I have one though. Because it's getting kind of annoying trying to find this thing to drop. And if there's, it's like, oh, it's a guaranteed drop, and what if it's a guaranteed? That's why I wasn't dropping, because I already have one. I'm so used to items that, like, if you already have one, it would still drop, but then it'd be, like, unable to obtain. Ugh, God. Fucking game. It wouldn't do this nonsense of, oh, it's just not gonna fucking drop. Ugh, whatever. The world is cruel in its own little ways. Just how it works. It's just me being stupid, that's all. I never thought I would be this stupid, but unfortunately, yes, I am this stupid. There really should be. I really was counting on the game to be like, oh, it dropped, but then it falls out of the loot pool because, oh, you already have one. It happens all the time when you have like coffer keys and shit. Why wouldn't it not work for this? It's so silly. So silly. At least I have a ruler. You know, the funny thing is, looking back, I have a Harati here on retail, but on Horizon, I actually never got a Harati. Never got one. The H&M shell that I was in were very, very weird about giving out the Harati, and I simply never got one. We would give it the fucking trial paladins before full-ass fucking members, which was the dumbest fucking shit I've ever heard in my life. And I'm sitting here like, I'm willing to spend points on this piece of shit. Are you sure you want to be like that? And unfortunately, they were like that. And the funny thing is, the one that I could have gotten went to a trial paladin. They fucking dipped out after like a week or so. It was the dumb. It's just so fucking stupid. Some rules are kind of just they're weird in their own little ways, and it's all just fucking because of the line getting too fucking big. When loot is like unfortunately very, very scarce, you have to make all these weird different systems to dole out the loot. But in the reality of things is that if the line gets too fucking big, then being like a new member to it is just a complete waste of your time. You're better off trying to gather up another group of idiots, learn how to do the fight. The fight's gonna be very hard because you're a bunch of undergeared sacks of shits, but at the same time, they're still doable. If you have enough people, we can make it work. Going through that process is probably a quicker way to get your loot than going into an already established link shell that has a mile-long line for any of the worthwhile loot. And then obviously anything that's like considered coveted, like a fucking D-ring or something like that. Yeah, you're not getting that anytime soon. Something that drops like once a year or you know, once. I wouldn't say once a year, because I know I've seen it drop like what, 4 times at the time I was playing. It was like, that was a little bit over a year, so you know, like once every like 6 months or something like that. You have just this massive line of people with God knows how many points there is, you know. You're never gonna catch up and get that piece of item, so you have to go. You're just there for the fucking scraps at that point. Some items are a little bit more common than others, just because you know, drop rates and all that. You know, you want an E body, you'll eventually get one. But it's still that luck of the draw kind of feel, because that's still a chance once a week minimum. And even then, you know, it's claim and then the kill and then the actual drop itself. So the process could be pretty much a pain in the fucking ass. And then when you have to, you're dealing with a couple hundred people gunning for that piece of item, it's just not worth it. Then you're basically on the fucking pressure to HQ it, because you know, you ain't got shit to do anyway. It's all you do is camp a mob, and that's it. There's really nothing left to do at that point other than grind out a relic. Wow. I leveled up Black Mage 3 times. So I could do Dynamis 3 times. So it's like what? 6 times a week? To do Dynamis and grind out my relic? Wow. It just gets to a point where you just kind of sit there and you look back and you're like, what the fuck am I fucking doing? It's exciting at first when everyone's on the same footing, but then once everything's kind of like set in stone, that's when things kind of just drag the hell out. Your item isn't as special as it once was. And that's really like kind of the rush was during the times that I play. It was just basically just trying to get the items. Could have just done this, saved an hour. A bottle pixie, look at that, I did the thing. I'm just glad to be done with this part. So I have one more to do. So I gotta go get a job testimony. I gotta have one on deck for the next thing that I gotta do. Okay. Probably sort this out, no problem. Bork. So I think what I'm gonna do with the job testimony is just go to like fucking... I'll just go to Devoy. No, actually, no, I have a warp to Bedou's. No, Bedou's annoying because you gotta get silenced. Now I'll go to Bedou. Bedou's easy to get to. Work on that. menu doesn't work very good. The mouse, because hardware mouse. I think once I get this quest done, I'll probably end up having to call it for tonight. I know it's like a very short stream, but then, there's also want to get into a couple Discord calls I need to make. With the weekdays, it generally just doesn't work very well for me in terms of actually streaming, just because the time is so limited. I can probably like squeeze in like 2, maybe 3 hours. But then I can't. Sometimes I can't do it at all because I wanna hang out on Discord with a couple of friends, even though they're doing like completely different things. Yeah, this one's easy. We can get the testimony here. Super fast. Good old Bedell. I remember on Horizon I farmed here quite a bit. I didn't really farm it a lot. It was mostly just to get my cloth crafting up because the sheep here was pretty good for it. I would do a lot of like coffer key hunting as well. Because I was like one of the only few fucking thieves on the server that were high enough. They wanted my TH2, and then eventually TH4. I will say though, like the experience I had back in Horizon is definitely like a once in a lifetime sort of a situation. You're not going to get something like that again, for sure. It was the right amount of teasing that got people interested in playing. And I am in the feeling that people will not be able to get fooled again. Because the shit just aligned it just right, and it's kind of there was a right amount of taste in the air for it. But then all that goodwill kind of went to shit because of just how slow a lot of the progress towards like, because it's teased to be like an era plus kind of thing. You know, they're gonna shake things up, but then they didn't really shake anything up. So a lot of, for the most part, the player base got bamboozled into thinking that things are gonna be different, but in the reality of things, no, not really, and it didn't really change too much. You might get like a couple extra flavor here and there, but really wasn't really all that it was hyped up to be. But it had a pretty reasonable rule set to follow, and obviously the high population. Like you can't get a server like that rolling without a healthy population. So that's really the big reason why it still is active to this day, even though it's stuck in Chains of Promathia for well over 2 to 3 years. It's it was meant to be like, oh yeah, we're gonna have Otter gone soon, and it's been teased to have it come out for such a long time, and people are just jaded to it. It's at that point where it's like, if it comes out, the server's gonna go to shit even quicker than it needs to, than it will be, because that shit's just gonna get toppled over so fast. or it'll come out as an incomplete product, and people will fucking blitz through it and get tired of it, right? Or like after like a couple months. It does have like that huge bottleneck thing going on there. It is honestly one of those situations where I hate to fucking say it, but a fucking fresh would be a better idea than to just fucking plop it into a server full of fucking relics, people with like 5 different relics, and already just a massive pitfall of fucking gear. It'd be a better social experiment if you just went ahead and just did fresh. Despite all the people that sacrifice years of their lives playing the game and getting the best of the best gear, I still say, if I had to choose between starting from 0 but also get Ottergon, then to come back and get Ottergon, I'd rather start fresh. I honestly would rather start fresh. This is also kind of like it's hard to say, because I mean I got a relic on Horizon, but I also played it at a time where I was able to play it without any fucking interruptions of life for 6 months. 6 months fresh, not having to worry about the outside world at all. It was just straight up just play 11 straight up. I was able to reap good amounts of the rewards before anyone else could, and not have to deal with too much of an issue dealing with all the ruffians and whatnot, the riffraff. I didn't have to go through an application process to get into an H&M shell. I didn't have to fucking prove my worth or some stupid shit like that. I simply did my job, I showed up, and got in, no problem, no thoughts about it. I had something, I leveled up the right thing, I met the right people, and I got in. And then I went through the process. I got to see firsthand the shifts and powers of all the dumb shit that happens in an H&M shell. It was hilarious. It was a good time. I just showed up, get the claim, do my job. I didn't have to think about it. The only time I had to think about it was, oh yeah, I need my points. Alright, who do I need to fucking shit all over next, you know? I honestly never wanted the A-body. I shit you not. I never wanted that A-body. It wasn't even present in mind when that thing dropped. I was just like, I don't really need it. It's like, I mean, I have Red Mage. I did push to be able to lot on the damn thing because there was a shitstorm over it. It was just kind of, it essentially fell on my lap when my A-body dropped. And I had a good handful of people tell me, dude, loot on it. It'll be really fucking funny if you did. And you know what? It really was fucking funny when I did it. And I don't regret it at all. It was... But yeah, the end of the day doesn't really fucking matter anyway. The ding dong that complained about he complained about me got their A-body anyway, as well as like what? Nah, I think they got the egg. They got the stupid like custom egg. I think they were like trying to remember this now. Got the custom egg. I think the egg came first, and then they then they poop socked enough to be able to loot on a body, and then I was there to cock block it for a drop, and it was funny. Alright, so I got my testimony, so I can get out of here. So yeah, the ding dong wasn't necessarily. A lot of people would say wasn't necessarily very good or whatever. But you know what? The politics aside, people thought he was a ding dong, and I was like, God, I was kind of there too. I kind of agreed with it. So when I was told, hey, you should bid on that A body. It'd be funny. Did it? And then it just happened really quickly. I basically got HR'd out of fucking the shell because I cut corners when it came to H&M camping, and I would do shit like showing up like sub black mage, like warrior sub black mage, or something like fucking King Arthur or something like that. Because I do unga bunga damage, and the whole point of fucking King Arthur is to kill it. It's not a very hard fight. You have like 50 fucking people there already, so you just get the claim. I'll warp out. I may have done some dumbass shit like got a Aspid sub red mage, warrior sub red mage, because oh hey man, look at the int spells. Oh, yeah. I did it for science, and science proved me wrong. So it is what it is. Yeah, so I gotta get a Castle Oz in the past, that's why it's back. But yeah, I did cut a lot of corners when it came to camping, because honestly, for the most part, you're just a body. And the whole point of it all is to get the fucking claim. The most important thing of H&M camping was getting claim. When you're talking about H&M shells reaching to like the hundreds mark in people, you know, it's like big corporate shell kind of shit. You do just hit a point where it's like you don't really want to fucking try anymore because there's just no point. You're just basically a body to claim it so that the main alliance will kill it. How much do I want to be in that main alliance? Sometimes I'm all for it. If I'm in it, and that's cool. But I don't. But considering that, for the most part, if you're going in there like a melee or something, you don't really need to try so hard. Just as long as you can hit the mob and do your fucking skill chain. Half the time you don't even need to hit the mob. You just have to fucking get your TP elsewhere. As long as you can do a fucking skill chain, you're golden. What was I going? I think it was working out. Alright, yeah, here. So in the grand scheme of things, if you're in a big link shell, you're gonna have people like me that are just going to be a fucking body. But you need bodies to claim. It's just the fucking. It's all a fucking numbers game. No one's gonna fucking get on your ass if there's like 2 to 3 alliance worth of people showing up to grab the mob. You're gonna have slackers, and for the most part, people that slack off the most are the ones getting the loot anyway, because all they have to do is show up every time, and eventually it gets to a point where they have so much DKP, they get the loot. You can politics that shit out as much as you can, but at the end of the day, that's the reality of it. You can slowly remove people through the means of HR, which is like whatever, and that's fine. But the most important thing is you gotta get the claim. And then you gotta worry to yourself, oh, you gotta be able to kill it too. When was that ever an issue? Outside of like the release of their adjustments to these H&Ms, for the most part, it's really not hard at all. Really not that hard at all. This north. I do have hides. I'm just vanish. That's right, I'm a smooth skin. Good are just kind of weird because they're both evil, but actually not too evil. They're like moderately working with Tarus. Sort of, kind of, not really. They're the beastmen that are willing to negotiate a little. As far as I know. This is what I need the testimony for. It is mine now. And now I'll just zone everything out because I don't care. Yeah, this quest went by a little bit longer than it needed to be, literally just because the item was in my inventory the entire time. It's a little silly, but understandable. I need to make sure I have a way to search for my items next time. Yeah, item scarcity really does. It's one of the biggest. If you really want easy artificial drama, but still is kind of entertaining, always just something that has some scarcity to it, and you can see people. They'll do the wildest things, man. Wildest things. I was part of that, and that's what made H&M interesting to me. It wasn't necessarily getting the fucking loot. It's the way that as humans fucking finagle our ways to get said loot. We create systems, some less sense than others, to make the loot a thing. And that was the most entertaining part of it. And then also the way people act when on that chase for that loot. You're having people that are forced, they're tossing away their lives just to get that imaginary internet points. I did it too. Especially when I had the free time. When I wasn't working. Oh yeah. Getting that DKP built up. Oh man, just working out your sleep cycles and all that shit. Oh, okay. This camp is gonna happen between. Okay, so between this camp and that camp, I could take a 2-hour nap. Put my alarm on. Bam, I'm there. And then you have fucking Tiamat camping, which was a completely different thing compared to what retail was. Because my experience with retail Tiamat, Chimera, and all those, you had one guy, maybe two. You know, you had members of the Link Shell that would basically have an alt at these camps, and they'll pop in every window to see if it's up or not. And then once it's actually up, that's when you get that, you know, you get those stories of like, oh yeah, I got a call from they got my cell phone number, they'll call me and all that shit. That's where it came from. It wasn't this fucking bullshit where you basically sit at the camp as a whole ass alliance waiting for that thing to pop. Or I think it was like, what, 24 hours at a time or something like that? Because they did shorten the window a bit, but it was like, yeah, it's like 20-something fucking hours. I don't know, whatever the case was. You didn't have people that were just standing there that whole duration. Even though I did it back in Horizon, but I didn't do it during retail. Retail was literally, if it was up, you had one guy that would check if it's up every window. And when it was up, it was you just hauled ass to it. That was the rush. That was the interesting thing that made H&M camping somewhat exciting. They almost kind of had it back at the beginning of Horizon because they decided they want the Ground Kings to be the spawn of it to be across several zones, like 3 zones, and they all have like different spawn points. Theoretically, that was, I mean, on paper, that was the best way. It was spread out. You were thin. You were just spread out really thin. That was one of the biggest reasons why you had those big H&M shells that would hit like 50 plus people, 50 to 100 people, because you needed bodies at every single fucking crevice of the zone. It wasn't just fucking one spot in a zone. It was like multiple, like what, 3 or 4 different spots. So you had to basically have at least a strong enough hold party at each spot, and it did give that sense of urgency when it popped. You know, oh shit, we got it. Better not fucking die. While everyone hauled ass to help, you know, to get it all stabilized and kill it. Now you could have made that interesting by allowing MPK, but that, you know, that's just my opinion. Yeah, if you had that type of that old style of Horizon H&M camping where it's just spread out across a bunch of fucking zones, and you had to hold the goddamn thing long enough for your group to come by and kill it, you had something going on. And then you would also have MPK allowed in those very sparse situations, so you can have people being little cheeky little motherfuckers and try and disrupt the fun to make it even more fun. I'm actually not reading any of this because I'm lazy. So now I have to wait till the next game day for this to do its thing. Alright. So yeah, the old style had it right, considering the fact that you are going to have a couple hundred people camping H&M, so that was a pretty interesting spin to the whole process, because now you have to hold the mob long enough. So my only guess is that somebody in the dev team did not like it. They weren't getting their fucking gear, so they condensed it to just one spot in the 4 zones. Or the two, you know, whatever, 3, 4 zones. And then eventually they just said, fuck it, we're just gonna bring it all back to the original zones. You're just gonna have to deal with 300 people sitting in one fucking zone. Just think about it for a second there. 200 to 300 people inside Dragon's Airy with a fucking thumb up their ass. Waiting for a dragon to pop. It's uninteresting. Oh, but we made it harder. Okay, so? All you did was just make the barrier of entry to H&M a little bit higher. But even then, all it is, it's just gonna funnel people into the bigger shells, because not only that you need bodies, you need a consistent kill. While technically it's still better for, you know, like a basic alliance of people that are good at the video game to just be on their own, and then they can get the loot that they need. I think this is defense, so it might actually be worthwhile to do. I got plenty of time. Then they keep kind of like teasing, like, oh, there's gonna be an alternate thing that you could do to get this like just as good gear, and then it never fucking comes out. Are they waiting for the next master trial to come out so that they can copy off of it? Maybe, who knows? It's just funny how that all works. It's like, all right, we're gonna release a multi-tier thing that you can do, but you can only do it once a week, and we're gonna make it convoluted-ish to progress in it, and you're gonna eventually be able to get the gear that you are looking for and all this shit, and then we're gonna have brand new gear, and then most of the gear is just kind of like, you have a couple of good pieces of gear. I know the first tier at least showed off some pretty decent things. You know, I can get my trotter boots or something like that. You know, alternate way to get striders, or you know, trotters, because it's a rare EX version. So an alternate way to get trotters, which is good. You can also get an untradeable, uncraftable speed belt, which is like, whatever. That's fine too. It's not the best thing in the world, but at least it's better than nothing. Some of the rings were pretty alright, but for the most part, if I remember right, most of the rings were like a fucking joke and a half, and not really usable at all. Register to a union. And then just like you do T1, all right, T2. T2 was a shit show and a half. Learning mechanics. It wasn't like the worst thing in the world, but it did give me kind of that that understandability of like, you know, the whole concept of the race of X, you know, X first to clear this, first to do this, and all that. I got to experience that kind of shit firsthand, and it was quite something. It was something indeed. And really, it wasn't really all that bad at the end of the day. I mean, I still was able to beat some ass, you know. Was able to get a couple of server firsts and all that. I was there for them. But I think like one of the big complaints was like, oh man, you know, people are stealing our strategies, or The only reason they won was cheese, and now they figured out a cheese. Oh, you got carried. Oh, man. All sorts of dumb shit. Oh, that's a bison. Where's the... It doesn't matter. I think it was interesting. There was emotions were definitely high when you're just like kind of trying to get the strategy out first and make sure no one was fucking copying you and all that. Then you realize just like how fucking shittily designed a lot of the fucking shit. Like in terms of how T2 was handled, it was kind of shit. I think, in my opinion, like mechanically, the only one that was actually worth a damn was a Tonberry one. Ultima and Omega was honestly really shitty, and that's really where the highlight of how good fucking the tweaks and rework, the tweaks that they did to Ninja really did shine in Ultima and Omega. And then you had the Mammoth fight, which kind of just highlights, okay, this is the dumbest shit ever. Like at first it was just basically we're just using like what, all summoners or some shit like that. Like it really did highlight like one of the biggest flaws with the system and all that, because of just the way Amity works and all that. And quite honestly, you couldn't really fucking melee burn any of it. The only one that you can reliably use melee on was just Tonberry. But that was because there was just a fate that, you know, when you're doing the hard, if I remember right, you do hard mode, and then it gets to a point where hard mode activates, and then you're just basically zerging it down, which is kind of shit. It still all ended up the same way. I think normal mode, it was just like, you're still going to have to zerg it down a certain amount. Like 20% you're just zerging it down. But mechanically it all made sense. You had to do a skill chain, you had to do this, you had to do that. You had to take care of ads. Like overall it wasn't really a bad fight. It was like balanced enough to make it work. But the other two, they just kind of highlights the problem of fighting one big thing in 11. It is kind of shit because of just how Amity works, especially in private server coding. Like it's exceptionally shit. You have this like really low Amity cap, and you're capping out Amity so fast that like you can't even use melee on it anymore and shit. And then obviously if you're using melee, you're feeding it TP. What the fuck you want me to do? There's not enough subtle blow in the world to make me not feed TP. I'm just waiting for the day. Once I get this fucking quest done, I am calling it a day. I'm just kind of chilling right now. Fucking mad fucking shit. So it does make me kind of question like how if Ottergun does eventually come to Horizon, how is it going to compare to my member berries? I'm like, how shit is it really gonna be? Like fighting Cerberus, fighting Chimera. The big difference is you're gonna be fighting it with relics. That's really the only big thing. And then also just how scuffed, probably how designed. They'll probably add in tweaks to the fights as well to make it even more crap to fight. You know, I don't really have high hopes for it. Like you're already gonna be bottlenecked, and then also the It's just a weird, different environment. Like when Ottergon came out, a good chunk of us were still fucking meandering around in fucking COP. You didn't have a big swath of the community just kind of sitting there waiting for Ottergon to come out. They were still busy with everything else. So when you have 2,000 to 3,000 players trying to get their hands onto playing Blue Mage, Corsair, and Puppet Master and all that, it's going to be a really shitty experience all around. Even with all the little things that they're doing right now, they're trying to counteract that bottleneck, or you know, they're basically creating an artificial bottleneck to begin with anyway. Because I know the first few days of, like, the first month or so of Horizon was a shit show overall, you know. But it was a fun shit show, you know. You had people that are starting from zero, and we're all just kind of grinding our ways up together in different routes and whatnot, and just different paces and all that, you know. It's gonna be a completely different experience compared to if you were to release Ottergon today. If you release it on that server today, the experience is not gonna be as whimsical and interesting as it was back when everyone started fresh. You also don't have the whole shit's gonna be shaken up tease to it all, because we already know what the mindset of the dev team is. It's not that great. You can't really tease any changes unless they were actually major changes. And noticeable ones at that. The only like big change that people noticed right off the bat was like probably like what, sub ninja being a little bit shit, but it's still fucking used. Red mage is a little bit but still you can still solo shit with red mage. Thief got some quality of life changes to it. Level 50. You get triple attack at level like 30 or something, right? Level 30 triple attack. That's like super good and it's kind of neat. But not good as a sub job still. Good for monks at least. Monks can actually farm with triple attack. But in terms of just natural use, why use sub thief when I have sub Sam as a two-hand character? You know what I'm saying? They gave sub Sam, you know, they gave Samurai Hasso and all that, and just basically you're as a two-hand DD, you're going to use sub Sam. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You gain way too much from Hasso alone, and then in enough edge cases, that little extra bit of store TP, so that you can do, it'll take one less swing to get the amount of TP that you need the weapon skill. So it's stuff like that where just like, well, shaking things up doesn't actually fucking exist. It's all just status quo with a little bit of like spice here and there. The only thing that really did truly get shaken up was definitely just Ninja being able to ninjutsu bomb shit, and that's kind of cool. That's like honestly the only cool thing that came with Horizon was like Ninja getting that kind of adjustment. It was cool. It was neat. You know, that's fresh at least. They weren't a tank anymore. They did what Square Enix wished it was. It was a fucking ninjutsu DD. But there was also a couple other things Square Enix wanted Ninja to do, and that was like, you know, ninja stars and shit like that. Sure again. Still haven't seen that yet. So as far as like, are they going to change up Blue Mage? Are they going to change up Puppet Master or Corsair? They probably will, and it's probably going to end up being some really shitty changes. But at the end of the day, it's probably all going to be just moderately status quo. Puppet Master will probably be the one thing that might be really like shooken up and changed in weird ways. Probably because of coding incompetence, because I don't think there is a good recreation of Puppet Master on a private server yet. I'm not entirely sure about that. Because I don't follow private server stuff at development as much as one would say. I just fucking played on one for just a good like a good year, and that was about it. That's my only thing with the private server scene. I don't know shit about it, and that's why I only know about Horizon, because that's the one I actually invested in a lot. I played Nozomi for like a little bit, but all I did on Nozomi was level up Thief to like, what, 75 or something, and then I just straight up stopped it. I was like, whatever. Oops. I saw how jank the server was, and I was like, alright, whatever. Not even worth it. Horizon just happened to come at a time where it's just like I'm freshly have this free time, and I fucking I did all the things. I met wonderful people. I met interesting people too. I have people that give me ominous fucking Discord messages, and I'm like moderately concerned, but at the same time, I don't know how I should feel about what the kind of messages I've gotten. A little bit concerning. People, like I said, if Outer God does come out, I'll give it an honest try. I'll go back. I'll play it a little bit, but just don't expect me to like fucking go balls deep into it like I did before. I have time. I don't have that time anymore. There's no gear left for me to chase, and Outer God will give me new gear to chase, and that's fine. But it's still, I'm still gonna be like back in the line for everything, because obviously, even if I were to get back into the things, just league shows that I'm in, they've been active this entire time, so they probably have thousands and thousands of funny money points to make sure that I can't get shit, and that's okay. This means I'm gonna be in the back of the line. I'm not gonna like it one bit. But it is understandable though. I'm just gonna be that guy, get the loot and fucking scoot. Not necessarily to a competing link show or anything. No, I'm just gonna end up fucking quitting again. Cause I did the thing, I got the thing, and the thing sucks. That was probably the biggest disappointment I had with it. Like that was probably the best thing about playing early on. It's like, oh yeah, they buffed the shit out of one-hand weapons too. I got to experience using Riddle with boosted stats. Boosted one-hand damage on Riddle, leveling it up with Warrior. Oh my god, it was the greatest fucking shit ever. Then I tried doing it on Dark Knight and it fucking sucked. I'm pretty sure Dark Knight, when I leveled up Dark Knight, this was after they nerfed one hand. I didn't get to enjoy it as much as I wanted it. But still, Riddle on Warrior. I was able to do full-on Sword Warrior in Sky, and then it was just like doing bongo damage. And then once I got Riddle, I get to play with it a little bit on like getting into like merit parties and shit, and it was pretty neat. The Zergs for it. I did a couple of Zergs with it, doing like pretty meaty damage with it. But yeah, then they just adjusted everything, and it just kind of a very lackluster weapon now. Not even worth it. It's just another fun weapon, like, I would say like K-Club, but at least K-Club still has a very edge use. Riddle doesn't really have that nice flavor to it anymore. It's nice to have, but it's you can't really use it for much. I don't even know if you I don't even know if Beastmaster could even make use of it. Their sword rating's so shit. Now that I think about it. It's like Sirius sword was a sword that had the same job locks. I can find it. Oh, I think I put it in wardrobe. So obviously Ranger and Sam ain't gonna make use of it. Warrior makes the most use out of it because, you know, back in those days you could sword chuck. Fucking Riddle Joy. That was the dream to do. Like Riddle Joy, great fun stuff. Thief. I mainly got it on Thief. Thief made the most use out of it because it is still the sword rating on Thief's still kind of shit, but it was still kind of like, because of its the base damage on it's still pretty decent for what it was. You could still use it as like a nice offhand. You're getting good TP gains, and you're also getting good swing hits out of it. But obviously, if you have a Mondao, it's just like, oh, just use a K-Club if you're farming. This fucking weapon skill right off the bat, and you kill things immediately anyway. Just waiting, almost there. Daytime. I hate game day. Like, the time gates always do kind of suck because you have to do so much waiting. And there's really nothing left to do. I already did all the daily stuff that I can be doing. I still don't know what I want to spend my domain points on. Like, I want to get a new weapon. I get a new weapon, but I don't want to get a new weapon. I'm in this weird feeling that if I get a new weapon on my Thief, it's gonna get outclassed pretty quickly. But I need to double check that. I need to see how long it's gonna be until how long it'll take for me to get a new weapon before, you know, if I were to get this now, how long will it be relevant? When will it get outclassed, basically? Because if I get the domain weapon, it is still a big jump in damage. And I could use a big jump in damage right about now. And then obviously if I go get a headpiece, that's gonna be a big jump. I got a decent jump, I think. I think what? The RSC items, they're good for a while, if I remembered right. I don't have to worry about doing anything here. Accessories, could go for some accessories too. A lot of accessories are going to be useful. I'm in an odd feeling where it's like those slots are very, very optional. Like, they're good, but they're not going to, like, in terms of using my currency that I'm only limited to getting every day, you know. That min-maxing shit. Like, do I really want to get that? I mean, it'll help, but... So I'm just kind of like trying my best to hold it off until I can get a good answer on it. I'm gonna have to Probably talk to my link shells and be like, oh yeah, what should I do here? What should I do there? I have somewhat of an idea where to go in terms of grinding, but right now it's... I'm still in that do missions first mindset. We're almost done. Day's almost over. I have now awaited a game day. This thing better fucking work. Then I missed out on like a couple server first relics too. I was like roughly about 2 weeks short from getting server first Ragnarok. That did kind of bruise my ego a little bit. I bruised it up real good, just like a fucking literal nobody that just happens to be a fucking lapdog for somebody else, for fucking Ninja. It's just like, god damn it, dude. He even did the meme where he had like nothing leveled up for the relic as well. That did kind of bruise my ego enough. I kind of wish I would have went for XCal just because that was, in terms of the easiest relic to get server first on, XCal is definitely up there. Mainly because everyone knows it's kind of shit, even on paper. So it definitely would have been the play. You would think Mjolnir would, but on paper Mjolnir was actually really decent. It had changes to it that made it really interesting, and could people that were like actually interested in doing like a melee white mage thing, it was there. People would do that. XCal was like, what in the flying fuck are you doing with this? And then the funny thing is too is that once someone got XCal, they realized the fucking thing was broken. it had stuff on it that didn't work. So you got like fucking double scammed. Got double scammed on making fucking XCal, when you should have just like made an Aegis. So even when you take into consideration the people that made Aegis would eventually get XCal anyway, which is kind of true for a lot of people, you still had so much time to make an XCal. There was so much time. I could have, if I had, and it's the same currency too, if I remember right. So I could have just went ahead and just went, all right, fuck it, we'll do XCal instead. But unfortunately, once the server first Ragnarok was a thing, I was already halfway there in terms of the actual quest itself. So it was like I couldn't do anything about it. I was stuck. It was fun using Ragnarok too because it hit hard. It lets you do Greatsword Warrior, which was great. That's always a kind of thing that I liked about the relic tweak. So it's like, all right, Warrior's not really meant to use a Greatsword, but hey, here's a relic it's very strong, on Warrior. It's a big Unga Bunga stick. And then Gungnir, unfortunately, is a better weapon. But it's not Gungnir's fault that it does Mondo damage. It's just Dragoon's just that damn good. It's a good class. They made Gungnir pretty good too. But it also was like, alright, it does bongo damage on par, if not better than Ragnarok, but also has the utility of fucking Dragoon, and that kind of ruffled my feathers a little bit too. Like, that's bullshit. Wow, they gave me a dexterity potion. Wow, whoa, that's a very worthwhile thing to get. But upon completion of these quests, go to fucking Sandy, get into Ron Fair for cutscene. I'm gonna go to Ron Fair, get this cutscene, and I'm gonna call it a day. Wings is a... In terms of cutscene quality, Wings is top tier. I really like the story of Wings, but goddamn, I am hating having to do some of these quests. Goddamn, they're kind of annoying. Very high quality cutscenes. This, you know, in terms of cutscene quality, Ottergon was like kind of trying stuff out, but then Wings was more of that. They finally kind of have a good grasp on how to make cutscenes, and they went hamsies with it, and it definitely shows. Sometimes I wish I could just squint to read, you know, so I can set my menus. Hell, if I could just have my menus completely separate from the main screen, I would absolutely do it, because the cutscene quality is just so damn good. I want to be able to see the whole thing. Cheese, though, the cheese. Still the most cheesiest shit I've ever seen was like, oh yeah, just throw ninjas at it, solve everything. Just like, oh, just throw summoners at it, solves everything. That was the thing that kind of, that ruffled my shit a little bit. Like, it's not their fault they had the cheese with ninjas, you know? I mean, it is what it is. It's all on the creator's fault for making a shit fight. They did all right with tier 1 HENMs, but then when they did tier 2, it's just they fucked up, and then they never released 3 or 4 that they have teased so many years ago. Miss the boys though. They're all fun people to hang out with. Despite how deranged they can get when it comes to playing the game for such a long time and still, for some reason, still fucking playing it. I'm gonna get the cutscene, or do I need to go into... Alright, there we go. Bonk. Hey, you just really gonna get yourself knocked the fuck out like that? Honest. How can I forget? Got an ass. Keep showing it to me. Can't forget that. I feel like when they did the Wing story, I think they like padded it out over a course of a good while. So that maybe that's why it's like, oh, have you forgotten about me? I think that's what the vibe is coming from. Because there has to be a reason why I didn't really do much Wing story. Because I did enough to get access to all the zones and start, like, you know, actually playing the fucking game in Wings, but then I never really did any of the story for whatever reason. So my guess is that they staggered story release. They did that. I know, based off of what I'm reading, it's like, it was like that too with like Rhapsodies. They didn't release all the chapters at once. Or at least that's what I think. So I was like going through all the like little things, and then it got to the like the last bit of it. It's like, oh yeah, this thing released at this time. Like what? Really? Okay. That ending though, that threw me off. Made me feel old. Ah, so that's why. Someone's been messing up the timelines. Slightly touched in the head. Something doesn't seem to make sense. The memories are being sapped from their minds. I am not going to read that shit out loud. He's one of those. It's kind of funny. If this was actually voice acted, this would be the most unhinged shit ever, but in a hilarious way. Must have learned to be blessed and growth the emphasis of this every day of life as a do. I don't get paid enough for this. Like I feel like the wording makes it sound like he's talking with he's like biting down on his tongue the entire time. He is shocked by the Yuri that he's expecting. Surprise, Yuri. Oh no. The future is disappearing. That's not true. Maybe it's going away, who knows? I mean, the little specks of light just going away makes no sense. Faith, you're drifting. Ghastly purple. It's like barely legible. Is something terrible gonna happen? That's right, keep them company, secure the timeline. We must preserve the timeline. Stay at the bedside. Also notice that like the relics exist in this era. And the people that use it. Who knew samurais are elven? This happens to be woman. I'm having a sense of woman can't trust woman here. Someone's a bednapper! Look out! Alright. So, let's see. Alright, looks like that's good. We're gonna have to do a good handful of traveling for next cutscene, so I'll be able to cut it here. We'll find out another day if there's a bednapper afoot. That being said, thanks for watching, thanks for swinging by, all that fun stuff. Get another good stream, good short stream. Maybe I'll try again soon enough. We'll see if I can actually get a better sleeping routine. Have a good night, everyone.